Hi, I'm Deb. I'm a physiotherapist from Move Better for Life and WorkHealth Australia, and this is the first of a series looking at workstation setup, the risks around a poor workstation setup, what happens when you don't quite get it right, what things you can do to help and minimise your risk of pain and discomfort. Today we're looking at the risks of a poor workstation setup, whether that be at home or in the workplace. So the risks. The workplace landscape has changed significantly for many of us working at home, and it's going to continue like that for a while. Currently, a significant percentage of the workforce is operating in makeshift conditions at home. Either way, employers are obligated to ensure their employees are working in a safe environment to try and minimise the risks of injury. And employees likewise have an obligation to try and set up their workplace and their computer as best they can with the knowledge that they have, and that's what this is about, giving you that knowledge. With this in mind, and with increasing amounts of time spent on computers, whether that be at work, at home, whether we're gaming or on social network or shopping or watching movies, we're spending a lot more time on computers these days. And so it's really important you're aware of the best way to set it up so that you're going to minimise your risk. As a practicing physio, I do see a lot of people come in and see me and my colleagues seeking treatment for pain and discomfort in their neck, their shoulders, their elbows, their back, various places, all because they've got a poorly workstation set up, and it could easily have been avoided. So I'm just going to share with you now my screen and show you a few photos and around the sorts of things that can happen. So this guy here is slouched very much at the computer. He's got two screens, which is great, but you wouldn't want to stay like that for a long period of time. Likewise, we have another guy further on who is slumped forward with a poked neck position, and you can see that he's likely to start getting pain in his neck, his back, lower back, knees, elbows, lots of issues. I'm just going to stop sharing that and we'll come back to me so I can explain other things that are going on. So that were just a few photos that I found. The key element though is how friendly is your computer set up for your body. Often we know that a few minor changes and adjustments can really make a big difference and ease the strain on your body and reduce your chance of aches and pains. We often find ourselves slouched at the computer, at the dining room table, on the couch, in beanbags, on a chair, an uncomfortable chair, working on the laptops without taking breaks. And we know that substandard workstations don't promote healthy postures. In fact, we get really poor postures out of it. And there's a number of things that the problem, which I'll just explain now. Firstly, sedentary behaviour. And what that means is just the amount of time that you spend at your computer without moving. We know that sedentary behaviour leads to health issues, and we also know that it can lead to pain and discomfort. So getting up and moving at least 2 minutes in every 30 minutes that you're at the computer is really important. The other thing is that when you're slumped at the computer or at a computer for a long period of time without moving, in poor positions, the muscles can become really elongated. So muscles like to operate in what we call mid-range. When you have a muscle that's at end of range in a stretched position for a long period of time, it gets really painful and it just doesn't like it. So for instance, I'll just show you my hand. If I'm stretching my hand back like this for a long period of time, it starts to get painful along here. I can do that for a little bit and that's not a problem. So these positions are not problematic in themselves. It's the length of time that we put ourselves in those positions that becomes the issue. And we can get headaches, shoulder pain, back pain, tight calves, tight hamstrings, and pain in the upper back. The other issue is that because we have been in lockdown because of coronavirus, we haven't actually been doing as much activity as we normally would. So generally, that is, I'm just speaking generally for most people, a lot of us have put a bit more of weight on because we're not moving around as much. And so our strength has become, we've become less strong and deconditioned. So that in itself has become a problem. So sitting for long periods of time in sustained postures cause issues with the muscles and ligaments, and that leads to pain. I'm going to go now just and talk about the very specific issues with each of the body parts. So with the lower back, for instance, why is it that slumped sitting is a problem? Why does it give you lower back pain? And the issue is that when you're slumped like that, the lumbar spine becomes curved, which it doesn't like. You start losing the natural curves of the spine. What this does is place excess pressure and overload on the discs that sit between each of the vertebrae in the spine. When the discs get overloaded and there's more pressure within the discs, sometimes the wall of the disc can weaken and it can put pressure on the nerves right next to the discs and within the spine. The same occurs for when you're in this poked neck position. So when you're sitting at the computer and your head goes forward and you're peering at the screen like this, that puts a lot of pressure on all the tissues around the upper part of the neck. You get compressed joints. The nerves can become a little bit compressed, and that refers pain to the head. Sometimes you get headaches, or you can get pain down the arm. Likewise, with your lumbar spine, you can start getting pain down the leg, referred pain. So it's the spine losing their natural curves for a long period of time that's the problem. Also, when you're sitting like this for long periods, you get shortened hamstrings. The calves get tight, and although that doesn't cause you pain immediately, when you get up and move, and if you decide to go for a run or move quickly, you're more at risk of tearing your calf and hamstring muscles than you would if they were nice and stretched and you've been moving around. So all those things cause issues. You can get pain in the shoulders, particularly you can get impingement pain when you take your arm up. The reason being that if you're in this slumped position like this, the shoulder moves slightly forward and the muscles at the back of the shoulder become elongated and weak. The ones at the front of the shoulder get tight, and it just changes the position of where the shoulder is naturally. That can lead to what we call impingement pain. You can also get pain in the upper back. Just being in that sort of slumped position like this, again, the muscles at the upper back become elongated and they don't like it. They start to get painful. So those sorts of things can be a problem. You can get pain in the elbow here in particular with the muscles that do this. So when you're at the computer and you're using the mouse a lot, if your arm is in an extended position like this, it actually puts more pressure on these muscles that do that, which are the ones you need for typing and using the mouse. It disadvantages these muscles. And so keeping your arm back and your your elbow in close to your side can actually help you prevent getting pain in the elbow. So there's many reasons why an ergonomic workstation setup, one that's kind to your body, is really helpful and will help prevent pain and problems. There are many things that you can do to help, which is the focus of my next session. And I'll just share the screen again and show you I'll move this on. Oops. Share and okay, so this diagram here is what we're going to be discussing in the next couple of sessions. The one on the left is a seated ergonomic workstation setup. The one on the right is standing, so we'll talk about both of those. And then in the last session, we're going to look at exercises and stretches that you can do to help prevent issues, but also help you if you do have some problems already. Great. Okay, just before we go, that wraps up this session. But before you do go, I just wanted to tell you that we have this little motto called the best posture is the next posture. What that means is just move again, try and move for a couple of minutes out of every 30 minutes that you're at the computer. That will help itself reduce some of the pain and any issues that you're having. Taking lots of breaks is important. Thanks for listening. Just remember, we've got Facebook, and some of these sessions and other education sessions are up on our website, so take a look at that. Thanks for, it'd be great if you follow us. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing you next time for the next session. Great, thank you very much.